to another episode of Cocktails with the Homies. My name is Daniel. Today I'm joined by one of my very good friends in this industry, running a particularly awesome bar out here in La Jolla. Esteban, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the people what you do here.
My name is Esteban Sergio. I am the bar manager here at Le Coq in La Jolla. In charge of the beverage program, keeping the vibes up.
Hell yeah.
Twisting and bending the rules of reality in this beautiful new wave French cuisine we offer here.
Beautiful
at Le
is
Coq.
the key word, dude. It is a beautiful restaurant. Very, very vibey, for sure. We've known each other for a long time now. I know that this is your first scratch bar. Talk about that a little bit, dude. Talk about kind of like the progression you've done from, every part in the bar to now, like, you kind of conducting it and being this kind of person in charge of, like, making it flow. I know you also do the music here as well. So
Yeah.
you're looking at it kind of in a complete experience sense when you think about it,
The whole circle of entertainment or entertaining a guest on a night of indulgence or experiencing just freedom from reality.
Sure.
To go into the having a scratch bar, I mean, all of us in this career, it's always in the back of our mind, like, what if I had my own blank, fresh, mine only, no hand-me-down. Was a lot of fun. It was difficult, but also very, what would be the word? It was new. Like, it was like, what if someone gave you a gift card to Toys R Us and were like, fill your room and your toy box with whatever you want. But then along the lines of matching the restaurant, that's also a different context too, is having a bar rather than a restaurant bar.
Yeah.
A restaurant bar is you are matching a yin to the yang to the cuisine rather than just getting people intoxicated in style, right? You have to pair with food. You have to control the entire experience from appetizer to dessert and complement with cocktail or wine or neither, like just following the flow. Sometimes just a Pellegrino, but even that Pellegrino is coming from the bartender.
Yeah.
And on the note of it being fresh too, you get to put whatever you want on it. And I mean, in my particular emphasis, I mean, agave has always been the stronger curiosity in this realm of spirits or cocktails or mixology, if you will. And it shows. And being able to, like, fuse that with what's already happening here.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm probably working with the best or one of the best chefs in the city. Not everyone has that luxury.
Yeah.
Of also someone who just has amazing awareness of a palate and flavors.
It pushes you, right?
100%.
Working with Tara also, like, giving her something and she tastes that and you could, like, tell.
Yeah.
You could tell, even if she's lying through her teeth and she's like, it's interesting.
Yeah. From bringing your meal prep of rice and chicken, she looks at it and she's like, let me fix that. It's like, damn. Whether it's a sauce or a spice or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
Yeah. Even the one thing I will say on that note, kind of with working with Tara, is like, the coolest thing about being able to inherit something new is incorporating everything I've ever learned from a sensei. And I think that's even the key to any of my success is my predecessors.
Sure,
hands
absolutely.
down, like, I am nothing without those diva, asshole, strict, unfair people that made me resilient to whatever task at hand. And, I feel like of that older generation that we had it hard. Like, we got hit in our hazes,
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it was different bar backing once upon a time, and even like the strictness of standards or classics or measurements or good habits, bad habits, like that I am very grateful for and can't really credit myself for any of it if it wasn't for those senseis.
But, in a sense, it reels you back in, right? Because perfect example, you here at a bar with, I don't want to say a blank check, because no business project is ever a blank check.
Right.
But, you know, you have all these people where you kind of touch on in the past, and you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. And it, like, I feel like it gives you a very good sense of awareness when you're given such an opportunity and you're able to fiscally make it, you know, kind of intelligent and thought out and thought through. And I think that's like, that must have been a great reason why, like, one, you're succeeding so much in this bar, right? Like, you are able to take, like I said, rather like you can do what you want kind of notion, but not spend so much and have a great bar program at the same time, and, you know,
and being brave enough to fail.
Sure.
Like, instead of making mistakes, making those lessons. Like, you learning in the entire, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not done learning. I'm still young in all of this. Like,
absolutely.
And the day you stop learning is the day it's over.
The day you're the dumbest in the room is that day.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hands down.
Well, you know, we have a couple cocktails in front of us. I think this one is fucking so good. Talk about this one a little bit.
Martini.
Okay. Like classic.
As I was, so based on a classic, definitely not a classic. This one is mezcal based, but an ode to classic standards and or builds and measurements. In my opinion, the martini is the ultimate. It's like the last step in learning cocktails. Like, it's your 3-ounce pour diluted to the T and delivered with confidence. I mean, anyone ordering martinis, we know from like the James Bond era, or, you know, the New York high society era, but no, like, a martini it's the classy way to ask for a double. Yeah. It's a classy way to have spirit in front of you without having to order too many of something, you know, something to sip, to kiss, to enjoy, to take your time with. I mean, in my way to test a bartender, like, how long am I going to stay at this bar? And it'll start with, like, we'll make me a martini with. And their response, their reaction, their interpretation of one, for me, usually measures what I'm about to get into. Mm-hmm. If it's a standard mediocre martini, great. I'll tip fat, thank you very much, move on to the next. But if they caught me with something that I've never seen done or heard of, then I'm going to sit there.
Sure.
And I mean, that's kind of the whole culture of being a bartender, to tend those or things that are relative to the bar, specifically guests. So this one here, I mean, in the context of French cuisine or French inspired and still keeping it myself, mezcal, a little bit of bitter element from a bitter aperitif, and French dry vermouth.
So good.
Very simple, 3 parts.
I find that like a fortified wine and mezcal is just like such a beautiful pairing in this world.
Te pastate mezcal, to be particular and bougie on this one. God. I had to add age in there. But yeah, this one I think would say is a good way to give an example of how I would get into a process of keeping someone at my bar. Mm-hmm. If they say, "Don't make me a martini, your call," this is definitely a good way to keep them sat. You know, keep them interested, keep them curious, asking questions.
I mean, it's great, dude.
So even if they don't open the menu when I give it to them, it's like, all right, now that you've had this, look at what else we have to offer, right?
And I love having bartenders like that, where you walk up, they don't even hand you the menu. They're like, "What are you feeling?" They hit those notes, stir to direct. Do you want to, you know, spirit of preference? And then they go to work. And you're just there like 3 hours later, like, oh my God, why did this go this way?
Yeah.
But, you know, you get lost in the conversation of it all. And I think you in particular are one that prides yourself on loving the adventure of flavor, right? We're like,
100%.
I say this all the time, dude, we're servants of flavor. If at the end of the day I'm anything, I'm no mixologist, I'm no, like, I'm a beverage enthusiast that really loves flavor. And, you know, the flavors I prefer just so happen to come from distillates most of the time.
100%. I mean, even like a big thing for me is like interpretation.
Yeah.
And like on the fly, as we call like in another realm, like jive. Like this is all like a response to.
Yeah.
So like not every guest in the bar is going to be the same. Not everyone's going to drink the same things or want the same things. So for me, for example, like if someone says bartenders call, that's all lights going off. Like I'm going to get stimulated from that. And
it's a conversation in and of itself.
Exactly.
You know,
like you just triggered all my exercises, all my reps, all my practices. Instead of ordering something on the menu or something classic that should be familiar with, you just asked me to turn on a switch.
Yeah.
Definitely would probably come more from a background of just being in entertainment at all. Like I grew up playing music, and a lot of the times, you know, just I wasn't that nerd in school. It was definitely more jams, there was more jazz, there was more rock and roll, and a lot of the times you're just one note go off 15 minutes, right? And that whole entire time you're just on the spot thinking, acting, synchronizing, you know, soloing, whatever it might be. So when I came into the bar world, it was just a switch of stage. And for me, drinks is just like another way to push song or music out through with different elements, in this context flavor,
so
rather than sound, if you will.
Do you find yourself kind of finding common themes between notes and flavors, and you kind of like relate the two and in your head build a song?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
And it's, I think it's much more of a practice in someone that is simple-minded first. Like less intellectual with every task given to them. Not saying I'm not capable of that, but my strengths usually come from response of instinct. And in order for, I mean, any type of information, I use analogy to understand.
Sure.
And in this, it's we are the key word, the common denominator in both realms is balance. So if we're starting, whether it's a dish, a drink, a song, a piece of art, whatever, all elements of something to express to, you need to find a balance, whether if it's colors, sounds, flavors, and exactly in the cocktail world, we are held together by our 6 classics, right? Like, you know, with the old fashioned, the martini, the sidecar, the daiquiri, the flip, the highball. It's like with those rules to bend but not break, then it allows you to express yourself in thousands of ways.
100%.
And I mean, that's why even cocktails are a thing, because you have thousands of minds out there that are bending these rules in their ways, and it's only inspiring others to do it as well.
Absolutely.
If you will.
It's a beautiful dance, like you said, of balance, right? And I learned this from chefs growing up, but you know, this art in and of itself is very unique in the world, because there's only a couple other things that you can do in life that take up all of your senses, every single one, through the entirety of the experience, right? You know, other than eating, there's only one other one, I think.
I mean, but it is food though, or like the nature of breaking bread has to be hands down the most ancient form of ceremony that human beings have.
100%.
To share anything from drink to food together. You know, this is kind of what this industry is, to break bread in style, and the importance of that, like the presence that you gain from that. Like, I mean, back in the day before phones, it's like that's where everything was talked about, conversed about, problems, celebrations, plans. It's at the table, you know.
Different era, way.
Very different era, yeah.
Different era.
I think, but coming from the era that allows me to have the success I do have in this industry is just knowing those set commandments, if you will.
Yeah.
And staying towards them and not straying from them. I'll never say break the rules. I'll always say bend the rules, because they're there to be
I feel like
tested.
at some point,
never neglected.
At some point, you pushing the boundaries of your curiosity, inherently you might break the rules, right? That's what some of the greats did.
I mean, yeah, Eve ate that apple, bro. Yeah. Like, that's what makes us human. And hence probably why we all do get any success is because of that.
Yeah.
Like testing as far as you can.
It's such a cool journey to kind of go on if like you're very humble and the whole ego side of it all, and like, you know, you spend time really trying to delineate this or define this kind of progression that you want, and you are like, your only driver is food or flavor, and like the rest of it is just noise, but you get to play in this song, you know, and you know, you create your own world here. And I think I had the pleasure of enjoying it a couple weeks ago, and honestly it's a fantastic thing that you do, and it really is something pretty cool when you're able to do that at a bar.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to be honest, I think they hit that here on the nose at Lecoq. But you know, you talked about kind of surviving this industry a little bit. Let's talk about your past a little bit. Where did you kind of start from to finally end up in your own scratch bar doing your thing? Like, there had to be an origin for it.
Restaurants have always been there. My father growing up, that's all he ever did, and I think that's kind of how he got his starting too. So just that being a career in general, or a way to get a job young, that was, I mean, I'm from San Diego, both sides of the border. I mean, a lot of us, like yourself, I mean, borderland kids, we have two worlds to learn from, to execute in one of them.
Yeah. All three of us.
Yeah, three of us. I mean, it's a strange breed we are, and we learn to live in those twilights.
Yeah. It's unique. It's a unique kind of like, what do they call it? Code switching, almost.
And it only really exists here. Like, the borders everywhere else in the world are very strange. Like, I think the San Isidro border, more than the number one cross border in the world.
Yes, it is.
But just because that's where you split the Americas at a pretty relevant place is entering the United States. In that context, being very fortunate because of like the melting pot that Tijuana is, and kind of being the last stop south and the first stop north from that borderline, we get anything great coming down to get to Mexico, and everything great coming up from Mexico, or all the way from South America to the point where they can't. I mean, learning a lot of anything that I know in Tijuana growing up, or then exploiting that knowledge or experience here in the United States.
Sure.
So big one of that is like, it's very common for us to end up in restaurants at a different time. Age was different to get in. The wins and hows to get in. So like, for example, I started working at 16. My first job was in Little Italy at a restaurant called Mimo's. I was the dishwasher for about 2 weeks until I saw this other person called a busser making tips every night, and I'm like, well, fuck this. Like, I want to do what they're doing. They told me no, so I quit, and now I'm, I think, 17, and I started working at Party City. Like, a strange place to be. It's the strangest building on the planet, like, period.
It's like a place of party, but it has like this haunting feel.
But it's grim all year round until Halloween, and then it's like game time.
You know?
But one thing I did learn there is, because it's such a strange place, is how to put on faces and be a character. So like, for example, they encourage employees to like wear the costumes and wear masks or hats and glasses. So every day I went in, here I am making balloon bouquets with these bug-eyed goggles and a top hat and wings and whatnot. So it kind of helped with in the realm of like stage presence and putting on characters. And I mean, like here in a restaurant, like you're always trying to, or not always trying to, you have to put on a face, especially in the bar.
Yeah,
like,
you have to have a presence.
You have to have a presence. You can't necessarily be your same old self, but you can. You just have to be like completely there.
Yeah, I mean, that's to your benefit, to give a presence and push the needle of experience, because then at that point you're at the the mercy of the guests.
Exactly.
And that, fuck that.
No, it's like you said, we are here to drive their
experience.
Exactly. Yeah. And most of the times they want to be in a mindless state where they can just be guided to their entire night.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, I mean, after retail though, like everyone in that store was like, you should be a server or you should work in restaurants. And that's kind of how I made my way back. And pretty basic restaurant experience to them, bussing tables here, there, turn and burn, mom and pop. And then for me particular, the game changed after getting hired at Urbanwood. And back to my ode to my predecessors, the opening team for Urbanwood's bar was literally the most elite in the city. It was overkill times 5. Like, because after they all leave that first era, they all start running the shop somewhere or calling shots somewhere, and you realize, holy shit, like these were top dogs. Like I was being yelled at by the correct people. I was being rough on for right reasons, and like seeing how that resilience comes into effect as you in an older part of your career, and that's when palate development, fine dining cuisine, cocktails, wine, spirits, that now is the most relevant thing in my life. And moving our way up through that, like from busser all the way to bar back to bartender, to eventually running that bar, all due to the credit of everyone that taught me in that time frame.
Yeah. And
that changed the game for me entirely.
Do you feel that you kind of like hit that moment of like, well, it all was just like restaurant jobs until Urbanwood, and then Urbanwood you were kind of like diving into flavor? Or do you feel like you were kind of like picking at that the whole time, and then you were finally given a way to express yourself?
Honestly, I wouldn't say diving. I felt like I fell into the deep end on accident, just working. Like for me, it was about just working a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I was some burnt out rock star living in a van, just playing local shows for no money. And then in the context of just needing a job and to work a lot, I end up there and not realizing that restaurant group was here to like make a name for itself, or like not like to be top dog in the city, not knowing what any restaurant group was or what that even meant, but then just falling into that and being like, oh, whoa, we're here to play the big leagues. Yeah. And then seeing these bartenders making an entire career of what they do, and even how they pull me into the bar just by noticing, I guess I would call it like an old school work ethic, like show up to chop heads, like take people's jobs, like it's not a malicious thing, it's just like a survival thing. And I think that is stemmed from being from the borderland.
Sure.
Like this is much more the realm of opportunity than other parts in the country, because you see that firsthand every day. Like, for example, I mean, the 3 of us easily waking up at 4 a.m. to cross at 6, to get there by 8, to leave at midnight, to get home by 2, to wake up again at 5, you know, like...
It's worse now, dude.
Like exactly. Like back in the day, it wasn't 4 hours, it was like 2 hours, but even still, like that's a lot of your day just to get to work. And like that hustle spirit that just is kind of ingrained at this point. So even like moving my way up in this company, like it just came from chopping heads every day. And then having elite careered bartenders in like as your teachers, they're just going to exploit that of you. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, this kid's hungry. He's gonna kill for us. Like, he's gonna work harder. He's gonna respond to banter. He's going to respond to compliment or advice differently. And the rest was history. Like I said, all my knowledge came from them. I'm not no protege or secret scientist. Like, hell no. I just monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
And when you see everyone at the top of the game, like, you have no other option but to keep par, at least, if not like raise their brows and be like, hey, now look at me. And all 12 of them too that are out there and have come seen me in the last few years, like they always same reaction, like hell yeah, always knew it was gonna be you, glad you got this, you know. That always brings a grin to the face for sure, because it's the same person who is yelling at you for ice or telling you to be faster, throwing ice at you or something, you know. It's like, oh, okay, cool, doing something right. Like when they say hi and you're just like, oh, hey, you know, like, thought you were gonna,
you know. But you really touched on something I think that's very unique to I don't know if it's border kids, but immigrants working in this industry. And it's like, you get it from both ends is what I've noticed. You get it from either, you know, the pushback of you being, you know, Mexican.
Yeah.
And not being the same mold. Or on the back end, because those other motherfuckers know that you could take a job.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll fucking, hey, to their own right, a lot of people are just trying to make it.
Exactly.
And you get this whole other stem of animosity coming from you from this other end, because, you know, you have a little something different that they don't, and you could win out. And it's cutthroat here, man. Like, I have to eat. My family has to eat.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna take that job if it's offered, and if you're not cutting it, then you're not cutting it, and that sucks. But have you ever kind of felt that from the back end as well? Like, you know, like.
1,000,000%. And personally, I am the kind of individual to thrive on that. I wouldn't want to use the word spite, but it gives drive.
Hey man,
like I said, I come from like a musical background, so like every time we played a show, like, yeah, hi, nice to meet you, so excited, yeah, but fuck that. Like, no, we're here to school you guys on stage. Like, we're not here to be friends. And kind of bringing that same mindset into the restaurant world, which honestly does make sense, because, I mean, how many of us got trained by that like 45-year-old busser who has like 6 kids and like 2 houses and like is crossing the border on 2 hours of sleep, working 2 busing jobs, you know, and then like a prep cook in between, like, you know, like seeing that guy and then thinking of any flaw or incapability that I might have with my life, I'm like, yeah, no, I got 10 fingers, both hands, both feet, I'm good. Like,
yeah, exactly.
As we would say in Spanish, I'm entero. Like, I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna keep those hours. You know,
right.
Like, we gotta hustle.
I think it was like summarized super well for me by a chef, Jevica Kane, actually. He goes, in a world full of people that fucking fly, you just gotta be faster than the dude next to you. That's it.
Literally.
Like, you're just swimming out here, Pat. Yeah. You're gonna have to swim faster than this dude, because tell you what, you ain't beating those dudes.
No.
So
not yet, at least.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
You gotta beat one at a time.
You gotta get there. But yeah, I really think that that's something kind of unique to a certain type of people back here who get like this just like extreme animosity. Like, I could never trust my environment. You know what I mean? As in some roles, like, I knew motherfuckers were about to get me. I knew motherfuckers were about to get that shift, that position. It's pretty cutthroat, to be honest with you, and like in the full scheme of things that people never really think about.
What's crazier is like thinking about that is also like adding to a strength. Like, you're being aware. Like, sure. You're getting eyes on a field before someone else is getting eyes on the field. So like, I mean, I think that definitely contributes to like any of our success, if moving up or. So we're able to spot those things out first, and then either adapt, apply, or change accordingly.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to credit that from being from here because of that nature. Like, there's always going to be someone who is hating on your heat, and you just got to stay hot.
Yeah,
you know?
That's right.
That's about
you
it.
just got to keep burning them coals, baby.
Yeah. Can't change in that aspect.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So, you know, kind of, working here, do you feel like you've hit kind of a pinnacle at all? You know, like you were climbing this fucking mountain, you hit the top. you're making your own bar. Do you think the next step here is like having your own bar, or do you want to kind of take this understanding of the bar and go somewhere else in the world?
I definitely didn't hit a pinnacle yet. I feel like it restarted. Like I just beat a level, and now it's like level 2. But also understanding running a space with no, would be like no rule of thumb, like just kind of nothing to me, just an assumption of what it is to, what we want the end game goal to be and where we're starting from, but nothing in between. So like a thing we do here is kind of like a late night vinyl. We have the space for entertainment, hopefully pretty soon live music. So again, with my background is not just a bar, but a venue in its entirety, and like remain in the realm of what is entertainment, sure, or to entertain, or to keep that person at the bar or in the room, what would be the word, occupied with, and mindlessly so, like whether it's a good band playing and they're just out, whether it's celebrating, off work, not celebrating, bored, whatever it could be,
yeah,
and then holding them down not only with cuisine, beverage, but now vibe that's selected, whether it's a good playlist, a good vinyl DJ, an amazing, a harpist was introduced to me the other day, like whatever it could be. So
sure,
you just kind of, I think what has changed is now getting a more broad spectrum of what it takes to host a space a certain way, and applying everything that I already have to accomplish that. So whether it's my experience in music or in restaurants or in bars or going to concerts, bars, and restaurants, and applying everything I've seen or liked from other places to put into one. That is definitely an opportunity of a lifetime that I think I was presented with.
Yeah.
I don't ask why, but it's like, since it's here, I might as well.
No need to ask.
Exactly.
I think you talk to you about it. You can hear why. Like, you don't even need to see it. You can hear why you were given this opportunity just by talking to you. And in that regard, with this new kind of like set of eyes that you're looking at this space with, do you find yourself getting, how do I say it, like things that inspire you from different places that you didn't normally?
100%. Mainly because I would say I'm not the kind of person who would initially go out to a place like this, or ever did prior to my experience, and like slightly in the experience, but the only reasons to ever go out to places like this is to learn and study. So one joke I make when anytime a friend or family or a partner is like, I want to go out to eat, I have a hard time going, hell yeah, because every time I do go out to eat, I work. I like work at the table. I'm like watching, observing, analyzing.
Gift and a curse.
Like judging, like this fool's not watering their table. Like, like
you get mad.
Someone busts that stacked plate. Like someone, like even like trying to like help, like no, you're not doing that. But I don't walk the world the same. Anywhere I go to, even like to the shittiest dive bar. Like, did this fool just scoop my ice with a plastic cup? Like anything it could be. Like whatever it is, Or if I see him do something epic that no one else saw, like oh, that guy just flipped a bottle behind his back with like 400 people at the bar looking for a beer, but no one saw it, but I did. I like that. I'm gonna do that tomorrow, Or someone with a snazzy shake. Like as bartenders, especially before we became bartenders, all we could think about, and I think I speak for about 90% of you, is like what I would look like in the service well. Like that definitely was on my mind as a barback, like what I would look like in service well. Having like a percussive background, I was like, I must fucking nail these tins,
Yeah.
And then,
to be honest,
and then once you are getting to this thing, the last place I want to be is the goddamn service wheel. Like, I fucking hate the service wheel. It's too mindless. I cannot stand the service wheel.
I'm a fucking fiend for the service
wheel. Having my back to people is just not the MO way.
Yeah.
Again, I guess it comes from a musical stage background. The last thing I'm gonna have is my back to the crowd. You know, like I kind of have to have eyes on what's happening. But I remember those bar back days where I was like, wait till I'm in the service well. Like,
I feel like it's a release for me. Like, I don't have to fucking be worried about the 34 people sitting in front of me. Like, I don't have to be. I can sit down and do what I do best, and it's crush around, bro. Yeah. It's like, you know, when you're cooking and you have like 19 fucking tickets.
I was gonna say that's because you come from a cooking background, bro, and you're used to annihilating tickets. I mean, like that's
yell at me.
Yeah, like that's understandable. For me, it's like keeping those people off that bartender. Like, oh, I can take all 34 of these people. Like, watch me. And I mean, like, ironically, that comes from being the costume guy at Party City with 150 moms looking for their Power Ranger costumes for their kids.
Oh my God.
Now, and being able to dictate how you're gonna deliver these Power Ranger costumes. And then, like, being, like, super savage, like, it's talking about a Borderland kid, like, well, all right, how fast do you need that Power Ranger costume? You know like, let's talk.
Let's go. I got 2 left.
Exactly.
Want it?
While I'm sitting on a box of the same size.
I mean,
think
about it, bro.
We're
We're just like that with cocktails, bro. Like, I'm giving people drinks and, you know, let's be honest, they're costed efficiently, you know? Like, and you're selling people a fucking dream for, you know, a cut rate. I'd like to.
I mean, that's where you use words like art and expression, because that's what you're doing. You're squeezing, you're water to wine, man. Yeah. That's all you're doing. Water to wine.
Oh my God, look at that. What a holy act we're doing.
Yeah, you can't, like, tell me otherwise, bro. I mean, like, let's just, in the context of the Negroni lane, the 3 nastiest fucking things you can put into a glass into something that's balanced and delicious. Like, I mean, we all know that one from the Great Bourdain. Like, it's just a fact.
Yeah.
I don't like vermouth on its own. Do you like vermouth on its own? Actually, don't answer that.
I don't answer.
Yeah, I don't answer that. My point is still my point.
I'll
like,
fucking drink anything.
That's just what we're doing. We're magicians with, or magicians testing alchemy.
Yeah.
And it's like kitchens of the front, kitchens of the beverage, cooks, if you will.
I mean, 100%. I call it cooking when I leave ice in my Yari, and it's like
that is definitely cooking.
I'm cooking it.
It's like leaving a pasta sauce on the fire while you're cutting something else.
You just gotta let it sit. You don't always have to fucking stir it. There's like 3 things you can do, and you know you can add to the guest experience while it's just sitting there. You can grab another ticket. You can. Yeah, it's just, it all goes with the ebb and flow of that service, right? And I think we're fucking lucky in that regard, bro. I think we truly like this to a different extent that makes us really thrive in this every day, because it's what we love.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. Some people think that becoming a bar manager means that they never have to bartend again. And I'm like, bro, I fucking love bartending. like, I just want to be able to do it where I'm fucking...
I wish.
I'm enjoying it every day, you know? And if that just means that I have to have more skin in the game so I can sit here and do it how I want, so be it.
Honestly, the bar manager title just means I get to pick the flavors we get to touch for this.
That's really the cool part. Being able to be like, I want that bottle now.
Yeah, like, and like being, especially, that was something I learned from one of the great predecessors. I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to say names on here, but the notorious J.O.B., dude, Jason O'Brien, bro.
I just fucking saw him.
Like, that man.
By the way, I want to shout out the place I saw him. Siamo Napoli on 30th. Fucking kills it.
Hell yeah.
They do a great job. And, dude, J.O.B. at Wormwood was
a
fucking book, dude.
He's just a legend, dude.
He's just a book.
And it's just like, if you think about, like, anyone who's ever worked under him, they are also legends. Like, just by default. Like, even if you...
if you paid attention
if you were watching him think or seeing how he acted with whether it was ingredients or people or an approach to a cocktail, like, I mean, one of my nastiest little tricks to most of my successful cocktails is J.O.B. put pineapple juice in a lot of things, dude. And like by the quarter ounce, by the bar spoon, and then like think to yourself, you don't know at a bar back era of your mind, like, oh, why did he do that, you know? And then as you're becoming a bartender, you start throwing that little dash of pineapple and things, you're like, holy shit, game changer, you know?
Yeah.
It's like discovering salt all over again.
I'm not gonna lie, he taught me a lot of little things.
Little
he
touches,
didn't
bro.
Mean to.
No,
he just did it, and you're like,
it was him doing his job. Yeah, like I remember there was a particular like instance, and I mean this is in his era at the Lion's Share, and he had a rep come in, no appointment, no nothing, but out of towner. But like did the standard, dropped his card, asked for an email, everything. And in that moment, even though J.O.B. was busy, he goes, well, let's sit for a second. And he sits, and the guy literally has cassis. That's it. He has cassis. He's not selling no wells. He's not selling no top shows. He just has cassis. J.O.B. is sitting there, tasted with him, eyebrows raised. Thank you so much. Here's my contact. And meanwhile, I'm making who knows how many shrubs in the bag. He goes, Esteban, sometimes you just gotta give the little guy a couple minutes of your day. And that literally became like a whole philosophy for me when I started buying spirits for a bar. It's like, look at the little things. Yeah. And even in my bar now, if any bartender comes in here and looks at my modifiers, for example, they either A, don't know them, or B, are gonna laugh because they haven't been able to get it, because they haven't been able to meet an order minimum to even get that, or like they're just really one-off things like factory seconds, bro, or just like no marketing in the product, and it's just like those are the cool toys, if you will. Yeah. You know, and that kind of awareness comes from teasing a palate for so many years. You know, 100%. Like you're able to side-by-side things and understand why you're side-by-siding and why you might like one more than the other. And I mean, that comes in the context of wine, spirits, food, sauces, anything that can be compared at all.
In my head, it just like, it rings like when Ratatouille ate something and he just like, eyes lit up, emotions or like a back memories like, floating around, like just like that. You ate something good and you're like, oh shit.
And like I said, that's something I would accredit him to, is like being able to view something with like scenarios galore from just one touch, you know, like those memories or those ideas, you know, and you see a lot of just his influence on how I build cocktails in general, and even other bartenders who have worked under him, watching them be very J.O.B. about things, and it's like, yeah, same school of White Dragon, Fighting Crane, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, man.
Cheers to J.O.B., dude.
I got nothing. I already killed you.
You gotta sip.
It was so good. I wasn't lying. My favorite it really is some mezcal with the fortified wine. It takes everything that they did, puts it in beautiful harmony. You don't need much else. You don't need sugar. You need like I think you put a bitters in there, a bitter agent in there too.
Yeah, Luxardo Bitter Bianco.
Yeah,
the quote unquote white Aperol, white Campari.
All the sugar comes there, and you know it's just like it's fucking so good.
And only enough to hold it together, like not enough to be present, just like glue. Glue between the mezcal, which is really hot, and the fortified wine that's really not. And you just put something a little thick in there, and it's just like you got mouthfeel galore.
Yeah.
Again, why I think the martini is like the ultimate, like it's like the bartender thesis. Like your martini game's got to be sharp. If you're going to be considering yourself some sort of craft cocktail, fine dining chingadera, is like you need to understand the context of balance.
It really comes down to simple principles.
Yeah.
And you
dilution.
You can add all this like fucking bells and whistles, but it comes down to like dilution, being able to keep the flavors in harmony and hold on the whole time. And that's it. You know, it's like it's not rocket science here. We're
know your ice. Know your ice.
Yeah.
You got the sick Japanese ice or what?
That's it.
How many stirs are you gonna do with that?
And crazy how something so simple can be so profitable in such an industry and so life-changing and career building and or life ruining, you know.
No.
I'm a stranger to that here.
Enteros, güey. We're enteros.
We're a whole, baby.
When you have one hand, we'll talk about career ruining.
I know, for real. I can still do it. But yeah, bro, honestly, it's a pleasure to come by every time. It's a pleasure to see you and talk to you. One day we'll be in our own bar together bartending, because I'm so happy to leave you out with the guests while I'm in the well crushing 600 covers.
All day, bro.
No problem.
All day. The three of us were almost in a bar once.
Yeah,
I remember that.
We're almost there.
That would have been sick.
But
that would have been a sick one.
Yeah. But again, I appreciate you taking time out of your day, man. Coming here,
yeah.
opening up your home, giving us a little taste of it, and, you know, sharing a little bit of your piece of this adventure in this industry with, you know, people that you'll never even meet.
Hell yeah, that's what I live for.
Yes, sir.
People I never meet.
It is what it is, brother. But it's another episode of Cocktails with the Homies, friends. Thank you for tuning in.